Hi everyone. Okay, so today we're going to ask what you need to know on your twin flame journey, and I was led to pull this deck, the Dark Mirror deck. So I'm just going to pull one card. It's a dark deck, but that's okay. But it's something that we need to know on our twin flame journey. So let's figure this out. And I'll ask for a clarifier if we need it, but just a one card. What do we need to know today on our twin flame journey? And this is time. This is not time sensitive, by the way. So whenever you click on it, this is the right time for you to hear this message. One card, please. What is the one thing you want us to know right now? For the collective, please. For the collective. Okay. What do we need to know? Aw. Fated to suffer. So again, this is a very third dimensional paradigm, very third dimensional point of view. So I mentioned on another reading that I did, basically, it's very okay in the third dimension to feel like the world is against us and to feel like we're fated to suffer, and that is a perspective about suffering in many religions. Even if people aren't religious, they just have that thought process that we're fated to suffer in some way, whether it be death or whether it be relationship or loss of a loved one, right? So if you have this notion, it could be subconsciously in your subconscious mind, so unconsciously in your subconscious mind, that you feel like you are fated to suffer. There is a way to fix that. Okay, so if you do have this feeling deep inside, I saw 222 just before. If you do have this feeling of, oh, something bad's going to happen, or I just know I'm going to suffer, or hey, that's normal, we all end up suffering, and you think it's normal, it's really not. So in the third dimension it is, but once you get out of the third dimension, this can be healed. And so I always recommend the emotion code for this, but there's other ways you can do it. And so whatever works for you. So what will happen is once you do, whether you do your inner child work or your shadow work, or do chakra work, whatever it is you do, you can release this programming. To me, it's a program. Fated to suffer. Maybe you got this from your ancestors. It needs to be released. It's in your bloodline. It's just going to keep getting passed on to your children. So I like when I make these funny faces because it ends up being the picture for my title. Anyway, my title page. Anyway, so with fated to suffer, what your soul wants you to know is that you're absolutely okay. That's what they're saying. They're saying yes. As long as that's your perspective, then yes. But if it's no longer your perspective and you're in a peaceful vibration, then no. If you feel like the world is for you, or if you feel like you are the world, then you will, and it's not your perspective, then you are not fated to suffer. It's just a whole other perspective, right? Because some things could happen, the same thing could happen to 10 different people, and some people will suffer and some people will not from the same exact action, right? I don't know. So let's just say when my mother died. Okay. When my mother died, there were people in my life that absolutely suffered when this happened. As for me, I had a different perspective. And my perspective was is that my mother never died and that she transitioned to another part of the realm and that she never left me. So what happened? I actually get to hear my mother, and I actually get to feel my mother, and I actually get to get messages from my mother, and like she never left. So my mother never left. And because I had that perspective, I didn't suffer like other people did. So that's just an example of fated to suffer. So basically, your soul just wants you to know that you have a choice here, and you are a transmuter. You can transmute anything. For example, I was suffering because I had learned about some, it's all conspiracy and stuff. But anyway, it's something that I thought was a definite thing, something that was harmful that was going on in the environment. I really deeply believed in it. So I'm not going to share it because I don't want to scare people. But anyway, I was able to transmute it is all I'm trying to say. I was able to, instead of fight it or pray it away, I said, let me transmute this. And then I was talking to someone who's very psychic, and she goes, yeah, you definitely, I don't see any energy around that being bad. It's definitely now good for you. Like I transmuted to something good for me. Actually for the world. I did it for the world. I did it on every timeline, every dimension. I always say, and please change it on every timeline, every dimension, every vibration, past, present, and future. And then you could even say across all time and space, but I say for eternity. So you have the power to do that. Anyway, you're not fated to suffer, right? You're not fated to suffer, and that's a third dimensional outlook. And once you get out of the third dimension, your perspective changes. And this is no longer, see how the witch is handing her the apple? You will catch that a mile away. So, you know what else? Okay, you know what they're telling me with this card? It's very interesting. So there's a whole other perspective. You see how most people would look at this as a perspective of, she's being given a poison apple, right? It's like, oh, she's fated now, which of course nothing really bad happens to her, right? I mean, the prince kisses her, right? She gets out of her sleep. But at the same time, there's another perspective on this, and that is this witch is giving her an apple. Now, this could be considered apple of wisdom, right? So the wisdom of, remember Adam and Eve, and how when they pulled the apple out of the tree and took a bite of it, the apple. Well, anyway, it could be symbolic of that. It could be symbolic of, just an elderly lady giving someone hungry an apple. It's just really a perspective. It doesn't actually mean that anything bad's going to happen. By the way, the 25 is my message from my mother. 25, right when I see the 25, which is so funny. Anyway, so that's all your soul wanted you to know today. Just, I could get a clarifier. Let's just get a clarifier just for fun. Any clarifier on this? Anything else you want to say about this when it comes to fated to suffer? Anything else that we need to know? What we need to know? I'm fated to suffer. Oh, if you hear something in the background, that's my dog. He's just scratching the rug right now. Okay. Conclusion. Yeah. So basically, when you come to the conclusion that you're fated to suffer, then you've pretty much written your own future. The end, right? And so they're asking you not to do that. So they're asking you to come up with another conclusion. Change the conclusion. It's easier said than done when you're programmed. When your subconscious mind is programmed, that's why it's very, very, very important to release it. I like to release it through the governing meridian. That's how I do it, or through the chakras. I clear it through the chakras. I crisscross my chakras. That's what I do. But just release that type of programming, and you'll end up with a different conclusion. Is there anything else you want us to know about fated to suffer? Anything else? Anything else you want us to know about fated to suffer? Oh, almost feel like it's a no, but let me try one more time. Is there anything else you want us to know about fated to suffer? Anything else you want us to know? Chaos reversed. Yeah, exactly. So when you draw your own conclusion and you don't think or feel that, hey, I'm fated to, especially on this twin flame journey, right? So a lot of people who will be on the twin flame journey will experience a lot of suffering and they think it's over their twin flame when it's actually not. It's actually their soul inside of them really talking to them through emotions. And they think they're actually yearning for their twin flame when they're actually not, when it's actually their soul inside of them yearning for them. But they don't know, they don't understand how to communicate to the soul and that the soul, how the soul communicates. So they think it's something outside of them versus inside of them. And so that this is how you turn chaos around. Right? So it's always an inner chaos is what they're telling me. So this is what's being mirrored outside of you. So if you have an inner chaos, that will be projected outside of you by your subconscious mind. But if you have inner peace, that will be projected outside of you. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. I do offer 1 hour mentoring, 1 hour life coaching. I do help release trapped emotions. I do 1 hour readings. If you're interested, you can email me at twinflamealchemisttarot@gmail.com. And that would be in the description box below. And thank you so much for joining me and have an awesome day. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.